Well, hello, Garage fam. Welcome to another exciting episode of Friday Night Chats with Garage Geek. But I'm cheating again because it's Saturday afternoon. I was beat yesterday. I mean, beat down. So I did not have the energy to do a video. I went on it was just a busy week, and I went on a field trip with a walking field trip with the kids to the Science Center. We saw a 3D IMAX documentary movie, which many of them did not appreciate. And then, I have a couple of pictures of me in the Science Center here. Well, I think I only have this one. Here you go. There's me. Look, look, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, I'm floating in space. All right, and this was me in school getting ready to go. The reason I'm showing that is one of the students drew me. Oh yeah, he drew me on the board. What do you think? Does that look like me? There you go, Garage Geek. I'll show you the original again. I should do a side by side. Where is it? Oh, I lost it. Can't find it. Oh, there it is. There you go. Which one's real and which one is the drawing? Okay, so before I get started, let me talk about some upcoming videos that I'm going to do. I want to do the movie of the day part 2. So that would be numbers 6 through 10. That's David Diggs' thing. Also, Paste Magazine released their 300 greatest albums, and I listened to numbers 300 through 295, and I want to talk about that, and most likely in the same video that I'm going to continue with my Uncut magazines, number 499. Those are the decades, a comparison. So look forward to those this weekend. I bought some albums last week that I forgot to show. So I bought this. This was expensive. I bought it simply because of the Frazetta cover. This was, a major investment for me. I don't know why I did it. This was $35 for me, and I'm just like, I'm wondering, like, why did I do that? I have no idea who Dust is. This is called Hard Attack. And, I mean, I bought it simply for the Frazetta art. There you go. And the gatefold doesn't even have that. It's just got a few band pictures in the middle. Then I bought this Mike Oldfield Omadon. I might have this, but it was in such nice condition that I went ahead and got this. I am a Mike Oldfield fan. And then the third one, I was really disappointed because I bought this Patrick Moraz album. Now, Patrick Moraz, I think I know him mostly. He was in the Moody Blues, right? He took over after, the man just died. Not Graham Edge. I think he took over for Michael Pinder. And then, so, that's how I know him. But I haven't heard any of his solo stuff, I think. But the problem was when I took the price sticker off, this was underneath it. And that won't come off. And I hate that. I mean, I bought this for the cover art, and then I'm stuck with a price tag on it. I really just don't like that. Oh, well, what can you do? So I also bought some books, but first I found this one in the book drop, the free book drop, and it's got a little piece out of it here, but still such a great book, and a famous one at that, right? This one I've actually read. It's really good. Pearl S. Buck, The Good Earth. Cool book. This one is, what is it, a pocket book? What's the kangaroo? I forget. The complete, I guess they're just called pocket books. Yeah, great. And then I saw these in a bookstore. There's a set of about 8 of these. And I went ahead and ordered 2. I just love the simple art on the front. And I thought this would introduce me to some new short stories. Most of the collections are short stories. And I love the simplicity. And when I get them all, I'll buy 1 or 2 each month. They'll look really nice on the shelf. So bought that. So I'm a sucker for these different advertisings for the designs of the books. So I recently bought the best American short stories of the year. And I used to read these all the time, and I just got away from them. And so I went ahead and looked on Amazon. And since they're older, this is 2021 and this is 2020, they're half price. And so I went ahead and grabbed 2 more. This one is the Best American Science and Nature Writing, and this one is the Best American Science Fiction and Fantasy. Now, I hope that most of them aren't fantasy, but I'll read them anyway. And whenever I read these books, since they're the best of the year, I usually end up liking the stories. So, yeah, I look forward to jumping into these. I wouldn't say I'm halfway through the Best American short stories that I just bought, but I'm about a fourth. Right? I read a story. I try to read one every day. And that's it for everything I bought or acquired. So, where's my little paper? All right, so let's go ahead. I need to talk about movies, one comic, a couple shows, books. Oh, let me talk about organization. So along with some of these books, the reason I made an Amazon order was because I needed to organize for the summer. So that's, my ongoing project. So I bought a couple of different type of magazine boxes. So one of them is just the standard magazine boxes, and I bought the plastic one that's quite sturdy. It's my second one. Each one of those costs about $40 on Amazon, but they are very, very sturdy. And I don't worry about stacking one box on the other because they, unlike the cardboard, they're not going to curve or anything like that. So I'm investing a little bit more money in those magazine boxes. I also bought 2 slab boxes, and those were cheap because I bought the cardboard kind. After buying 2 of them, I realized that I still need another because I have about 4 or 5 that wouldn't fit into those 2 boxes. And I started organizing my CDs. Let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. So I have basic CD boxes. And what I'm trying to do is, I have these old style envelopes for putting CDs in. I bought these when I was in Japan. Now the front is clearer, but it's got this flap. And as you can see, it kind of mars the art. And even though the back is a little bit more opaque, I decided to take my classic rock albums and put these in these folder type, and then, just kind of display them that way. And this is going to take me a while, but I'm going to stick to classic rock for this type. And so far, I've done this many. So yeah, I've got a long way to go. But as you can see that I'm flipping through, like I was in the bees. And my collection is all over the place. So I'm going to be working on that this summer. And, I have the other type where there's it opens up. It's like plastic that opens up, but it's not hard plastic. And I've been putting most of my CDs in there, but like I said, I'm going to try to do all my classic rock in this style to kind of set them apart. So that's an organizational thing that I was doing this week. Okay, enough of my organization. Let's go ahead and jump on to what I did. So this morning I started reading All-Star Superman. This is one of those lauded comic book runs. There's not that many. I think there's probably like 8 or 10 comics in the series, maybe 12. I think I read the first 3, and it's supposedly one of the greats. It won the Eisner Award for Best New Series, and one of the reasons I really wanted to read this is because I'm a huge Frank Quitely. I'm not sure if that's actually how you say his name. I love his art. His faces are quirky, but it's one of the reasons why I like it. His artwork is usually beautiful, but the faces kind of throw it off. But I still really appreciate it. So, look at that cover. Look at that. I'm going to just show off some art. Look at this. Is all beat up. So that's one of the, as you could see, it's just totally beat up. I got it for super cheap. And so I don't mind that it's beat up a little bit. I would like to get this in absolute form when I can. I know that one was just put out. But the artwork in this is really good. And I'm going to have to say that the first 3 issues are so much fun. Here's another. I won't go into the storyline, but they do focus on certain characters each issue. So you can see like his face there is weird, but I still love that art. And then I'm going to, sorry, I'm just kind of flipping through this to show off some of the art. This issue focused on Lois going a little bit of crazy inside the Fortress of Solitude. It was a fun issue. And then the next issue after that, and then he's got his own little Batman arena thing, but supposedly they're all, everything is there because a lot of it has to do with threats to humanity. So he's keeping it in the fortress for that reason. Sorry, look, I mean, look at that. I mean, that's weird, but gorgeous. Like, there's just a lot of little things in Frank Quitely art that makes you stop and look. So here is Superman saying for Lois's birthday, he's going to give her a formula so that she can be equal to him for one day, and he even gives her a costume. And then that's the next issue. And that was a really fun issue. I think that's the one I stopped at. So yeah, these lizard men attack. I mean, it's all silly, but it's so much fun. I think that's gonna be it. Oh no, here's another one. Look at that. They're on the moon, if you couldn't tell. It's just great art throughout. And I guess the next issue that I'm going to start is going to focus on Jimmy Olsen. So this does harken back to a lot of the stuff from like the 50s and 60s. They even mention some things. For example, there's one scene early on where they're getting into the Fortress of Solitude, and Lois asks him, where's his giant key? Which is a reference to what he used to do to get into the Fortress of Solitude. But he has a new key now. He's got a new key now. I tried to find that. So his key is tiny, but it weighs 500,000 tons. So he's the only person on the planet who can actually pick up the key. Okay, All-Star Superman. I'm really enjoying it. I'm sure it will have a very satisfying outcome. In the first issue, Lex Luthor willingly he commits a crime against Superman, and he is willingly taken into custody. And you know that he's building up to something. So let's see how that plays out. If you've read All-Star Superman and you like or don't like Frank Quitely's art, please let me know in the comments what you think about this. I'm definitely going to be, I'm going to keep reading that. Movies. This week, we were on, I think, Hulu. And my husband's like, oh, you know, my dad used to watch the Planet of the Apes when I was young, and I used to see glimpses of it. And we had just seen the new Planet of the Apes movie, which I talked about before. And he was like, you know, I'd like to watch the original. So here's this great piece of art from the Planet of the Apes. And so I was like, well, hell yeah, I'll watch the original series with you. And so we started watching it. And I guess, oh, here we are. I didn't get pictures of it. But there are 5 movies in the original series. And we got through the first 3. So the first one is, of course, Planet of the Apes from 1968, the year I was born. And that thing is just a stone cold masterpiece. It's not boring in the least. There are some dated elements. It's just so much fun to watch. I mean, I've watched that movie so many times, and I always enjoy watching it. The lead is Charlton Heston, and his attitude is he's very cynical throughout the whole movie. But yeah, it's just a fun movie. And when you get to that line when he's like, you know, like you're waiting for it, like, get your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty apes, or ape. You're just like waiting for it to happen. It's so iconic, and it's so awesome when it finally happens. Then the second one is Beneath the Planet of the Apes from 1970. So it's like 2 years later. And this movie is a crazy stinker. It's so bad that you're just kind of like, what were they thinking? But it's still fun to watch because it's just it's like batshit crazy. So I guess Charlton Heston didn't want to be in it, but they threw a ton of money at him. So he agreed to be in the beginning and the end. And then they got a Charlton Heston lookalike to go in the movie. And then they start with the apes, and then they go to this underground city, and it just gets crazy from there. Half the movie is not even about apes. The people that they find there, they're just religious fanatics who can I don't know. Who cares if I spoil it? It's just so crazy. These religious fanatics who worship an atomic bomb, and they can remove their faces. I'm laughing because my husband said the weirdest thing to me. And it's racist, but I'm going to say it anyway. Because there's one of the people who can remove their face. He's an African American. And so my husband was like, if he could choose any like mask to put on, why would he choose to be an African American? I was like, that's so racist, but it's kind of weirdly true in a sense. So sorry if anybody's out there who's African American. Of course, there's nothing wrong with being African American, but you know, this is like I'm on really sticky ground here. I don't mean any offense. But it's this old argument, like, if you could choose to be gay, like, would you? Like I don't know, when you're born into a world where there's so much racism and hatred toward who you are naturally, it just made me laugh. Like, my husband says these kind of things now and then, and I'm just like, wait, that was wrong, but it made me think. Okay, so then the third movie is Escape from the Planet of the Apes. And this one goes away from the Charlton Heston type characters, and it goes with Zira and Cornelius, and they actually go back in time to like our current world, and they have their exploits and showing the world. It's like a reverse of the Planet of the Apes, and it's so much fun until it gets very dark. Now, the next one I've seen also, but I'm not going to talk about it until I watch it again. But it's basically set up in this one with Ricardo Montalban. And then Ricardo Montalban, I guess, is one of the stars in this one. And I don't actually know if I've seen the last one. Maybe when I was a kid. But I rewatched this series, I don't know, about a year or so ago. And I never got to the fifth one. So I'm looking forward to finally watching that or rewatching that. So sorry if my little racist thing was... I don't know how to say it, but it was just it's a weird comment that my husband made, and I was laughing, and I was like, that's so wrong, but it's also, I'm kind of, it was like a thinkable moment there. After that, I continued watching the shows, which I talked about last week. I'm looking to see if I have a picture. I think I deleted the pictures for them, but they're both on Apple TV, and Dark Matter. I complained a little bit because the first couple episodes of Dark Matter was kind of run-of-the-mill. Wow. It's not done yet, but man, did it ramp up. I was so enthralled. So basically, the first couple of episodes, we have a guy who's out of his depth trying to figure out what's going on. From like the third episode until the one that they have available now, they go into this this box, and when they inject the drug, they can go to any door in the multiverse. It sounds simple initially, but there's more to it than that. But they just open door after door, and they go into all these crazy parallel Earths, and that's when this show becomes amazing. It's so cool. That will also lead me into the show Constellation. It's also about parallel Earths. This is more of a family drama about a woman who goes into space, and she comes back, and she's not on her planet or her reality, although things are very similar. There are just some things that are slightly different, and everything's off. And then in the first couple episodes, it was one of those where you have to guess, like they would use slightly different colors when you were, like different palettes for the different realities, so I was clued in. There would be slight differences. But after like the third or fourth episode, they just go full in. We know what's going on. They would show the different realities. They would show the two characters from different realities. And there is a child actress in this show, and she is phenomenal. She plays two separate children who are very alike, and she's believable. My dog wants to come up. Come on up. She's so believable. Like, this kid deserves an Academy Award. Sorry, we need to cut this off. He's got these little dirt things under his chin. So she needs to get whatever the equivalent is, like not a Tony, Emmy. This girl is so good in this role. Like, I'm shocked that she's better than Noomi Rapace. I'm not sure how you say her name. It's Noomi Rapace. Noomi Rapace or Rapace. She's been in so many things. She's great. But this little girl is better. Like, this little girl is so good. So I was really getting into the show. It actually finished the first season. The ending was kind of, it went back to predictable territory for a show like this. And it left a lot open in case there might be a second season. I would like to see a second season of this show, but I don't know how popular it was or if it would, be able to go on to a second season. I hope so, because it was certainly interesting. I'm left only with books. So let me go ahead and get my books that I'm going to talk about. Oh, they're on my iPad. Except for one of them. Okay, so we'll start with this one. Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Now, I'm pretty sure that this was recommended by Kristen or Mary. So Kristen is Omnicat, or the Comic Slayer. She's Larry's Library's daughter. I think she and Mary were talking about this, and one of them recommended it, and they said how good it was. So I went ahead and I put it in my list. So if they're not the ones, sorry, I get that kind of stuff mixed up all the time. But I listened to it this week, and I really liked it. Now, I'm a huge sucker for animals that are anthropomorphized. Some people don't like that at all. It gets me. I don't know why. I'm a sucker for that. This octopus is like this snobby older guy who's like just having to deal with humans and their foibles. But he really starts to feel some affection toward a certain woman that's in this story. And there's so many coincidences that abound in this book, but you don't really care. That's part of the fun of this type of book. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I would recommend it. It's a fun, fast, great read with some fun characters and people circling around each other, and the connections and they don't. And the octopus is trying to help them make those connections. And I think it was so much fun that, I would recommend this book for fun. Then the next book that I read was the next Parker novel, which is called Deadly Edge. Now, at this stage, I am over halfway through the series. So here's number 13, Deadly Edge, right there. And there are, I believe, 24 or 25. 24, I think, according to this. So 13 is over halfway, and I'm done with it. So what was interesting about this book, Deadly Edge, is it had an introduction, and I don't know if the other ones did. Maybe the first one did. It had a new foreword by Charles Ardai. Ardai. And he really said some things that made my ears perk up, because he said that the author wanted to kind of make the next couple of books darker. And with this book, he was, trying to reinvigorate, even though the ones before it, he had a kind of a formula, and I've talked about that. And he wanted to kind of try to push that. And so he wanted to go darker. Now, this book, I thought it would be way more darker than it was, since he talked about that, because this is kind of a domestic invasion type of book. So Parker has fallen in love with a woman, and he's trying to keep the woman and his business dealings separate, but they get, and she buys a house, and that's like a way station for him, and he's always there when he's not doing a job. Well, someone finds out about this place and they're looking for him, and so they go there when he's not there, and it's about that kind of a home invasion type thing and the result of that. So it was kind of dark in that sense. This, I was going to say, this is like the first time that I wasn't totally enthralled with the book, although it was certainly great. I think the very beginning of the book is the heist, and I don't think the writer put as much attention into the heist as he normally does in explaining it, or there was something about it that just didn't keep my attention the way the others did. Like, he would show you how they would plot it out, but here we jump right in the middle of the heist, and maybe that was why. Still a really, really good book. And I'm actually looking forward to the next one, because the way it was described by the person in the introduction, it sounds like it's going to be very good. So anyways, Richard Stark, Deadly Edge. Okay, the last thing I guess I'm going to talk to you about today is, where is it? I lost it. Where is it? For the Future. Do I not have it here? Uh-oh, I don't have it to show you. So, which is a real drag, because now I got to remember it. So, For the Future. Now, I have a goal. Each week I'm trying to finish one book. And this week I cheated a little bit because I finished a book that I had already started. And I read 2 short stories from it. Now, I don't have the book in front of me. My dog's on me. So I don't have the book in front of me. So I'm going to have to show you the alternate covers for it. But I have shown it before, because I had already read 2 of them. So here's an alternate cover for the book, which I would actually like to find. So I read the last 2 stories, and they were by Henry Kuttner and Eric Frank Russell. Excuse me. So I also want to show, I don't know if you remember, I showed that I bought my husband a bunch of Pez, and he went ahead and set them up, and they look really nice. So he put them on these displays. Pretty cool, huh? So let's get back to the book. So the first one was called, I'm drawing a blank. It was by Henry Kuttner. Oh no, and it's called The Children's Hour. Okay, I got it. So it was originally published in this Astounding Science Fiction, I believe, and this one was from 1944. I love this snarky guy online. He wrote, or he or she wrote, Astounding had some good covers in 1944. This is not one of them. So anyways, this story was a bit strange. So in fact, one of the online reviewers was saying how it was very strange for this to actually get published in Astounding Science Fiction. So it's about this guy who goes to a hypnotist, and he finds out that there's a couple months of his memory gone. And when he starts investigating it, it all has to do around this woman that he knew. Now, there's so much to explain in this story, but basically this woman was like a child who was on Earth in order to kind of grow up. It was like a way for her to mature, to kind of be with a lower level species. And he was part of the maturing process for her. There was so much going on in this book. It would happen in different stages. Like, the guy would show up and he wouldn't be able to see the people who were in charge of her. There would be like shadows. Like, it was the idea, like a mortal man isn't able to see someone from a higher level being. At one point, he likens them to a god who is protecting a human on Earth. Like, let's say Zeus was protecting his either semi-god or a woman, and he has someone protecting her, and you wouldn't be able to see the god because it would just be too overpowering for a mortal's brain. And they give a couple of stories like that and analogies. There's even this fairy tale that they tell about a little girl who is with a race of people who are blind, but the little girl can see, but the sun is so bright that if she were to open her eyes, she wouldn't be able to see anyway. And so she has a guardian there who is, keeping her there until she's ready to be removed. And they were likening these analogies to this woman being on Earth, where she is some form of being that is above everybody else, but she's just there to kind of mature. Later in the book, it seems like she is a being that can live in many different dimensions, and she's actually growing up in many different places, many different planets, many different parallel universes, and he gets glimpses of these. So she is maturing in different places, but at the same time as the same being. It gets wild. Like, the ideas in this short story were pretty cool. And the next story was very different from that one. And that one was Plus X by Eric Frank Russell. So Plus X, I believe, was originally, if you could see down here, was originally put out in Astounding Science Fiction in June of 1956. Now, in this story, we have an Earth person who is deep into enemy territory, space-wise. And he crash lands. He goes as far as he can. He's sending back data. And then his plane kind of gives out, or he crashes or something. And he's taken prisoner. And he's put on a prison planet. And he has to use only his brains to get out of the situation. And he comes up with this really interesting plot. It seems implausible, but he invents this story where he says that all humans have some kind of spirit being, and this kind of reminded me of the daemons that are in the children's story with Lyra Belacqua. What are those books called? Oh, the Golden Compass. So anyways, he says that astral kind of being is always there, but it takes offense, and if you do something wrong to them, they will go out and make retribution for it. So he's kind of using this to get better treatment at the place, the internment camp. But he also wants to use it as a way for them to let him go willingly. He actually gets what he wants. He builds this up, and it's actually a really, really fun story, the way that it's presented. It's very different from the other one in the way that this one has a lot of action. And it does have a lot of talking, where he's talking to his captors and trying to convince him of what's going on, so that they start fearing this astral being and the retribution that it will take. It was a really fun story, and I'm so glad that I read it. Now, oops. So there we go. I really would like to pick up this copy of the book. My book is slightly different. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know where I put it, though. I'm looking around. That's a shame. Still looking. Oh, well. I've shown it in past videos. So it's very similar to this, except this is kind of shrunken. It does have different pictures. There's a lot of white around it, and that's why I like this one better, because it has the full color art on it. So that is Garage Geeks week. I have 3 days left, and then it's vacation. I'm so looking forward to it. But I want to thank everybody again for all the support. Sorry this was late, but again, I want to please remind everybody to always try to be more intelligent.